Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Director Wray, thank you for being here. Please pass on appreciation to the women and men of the FBI. We appreciate the work. They're too often under attack, and we appreciate their professionalism. Today, I'd like to bring attention to a crisis and desperate need of a solution. That is the pattern of violence that disproportionately affects American Indian and Alaska Native women. The U.S. Department of Justice has found that Native American women face murder rates more than 10 times the national average, and 4 out of 5 Native women are affected by violence today. The missing and murdered Indigenous women epidemic is a tragic reality, and it's one we need to tackle with real solutions. The challenge we face today is that no one truly knows, not even the FBI who has jurisdiction on tribal lands, how many Indigenous women go missing or murdered every year. There's no dedicated federal database designed to collect information on missing and murdered Indigenous women, and the numbers we do have come directly from state and tribal law enforcement agencies, and often neither are equipped with the training or tools necessary to support thorough investigations. As a result, understanding the true scope of this crisis is nearly impossible. Unfortunately, in my home state of Arizona, we're all too familiar with this tragic issue. The Murder Accountability Project, a nonprofit that examines available data on murders, found that Arizona has the 3rd highest number of missing and murdered Indigenous women. 1/3 of those murders go unreported to the FBI. And the National Institute of Justice system that tracks missing people shows that since the first of the year, there are 45 missing Native Americans in Arizona. And of course, those are the only ones that have been reported. These figures are gut-wrenching. That's 45 families, 45 communities of friends and neighbors with no real information about their missing loved ones, and not enough law enforcement support to find answers, hoping to be an exception from the statistics. And that is happening in tribal communities across the United States of America. Last year, Arizona passed an important state law led by State Representative Jennifer Germain to examine the issue of murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, making Arizona one of only 7 states to establish its own task force to find answers. In November of 2019, the Trump administration launched a task force to tackle this issue at the federal level. You're a member of that task force. While this task force is an important step, we must do more to truly address this epidemic. It shouldn't take more women and girls dying to bring enough attention to the crisis to end it. So I have several questions about this, and please keep your answers as brief as possible. We know that sound policy recommendations are created when directly impacted people are at the table, sharing their experiences and giving their input. Director Wray, are tribal leaders, Indigenous survivors, and data collecting organizations going to be part of the task force where these protocols are being drafted and considered?
Well, the details about the task force are ones that are better referred to the department. I will tell you that I believe strongly, which I think is the heart of your question, about the importance of hearing directly from tribal leaders. And in fact, as FBI director, I went with our Phoenix special agent in charge to meet with the leaders of the Navajo Nation and to drive around on Indian country and hear firsthand about what the challenges are. And I believe, from what the leaders of the Navajo Nation told me, including the president of the Navajo Nation, I think I'm the first FBI director to ever go there and visit them myself. So we are trying to engage directly and hear from them. It's, as you said, gut-wrenching to hear the fact patterns of these cases, and my heart goes out to the victims.
Public reporting indicates that the task force has only been allocated, at this point, $1.5 million. Is that enough resources to do the job for the very broad jurisdiction of the federal task force?
Well, again, the nitty-gritty of the task force, I would refer you to the department, but I would tell you that we're going to make the best use of the resources we do have, and as I think I said in a different context to one of your colleagues, if Congress gives us more resources, I can assure you we'll put them to good use.
It's clear that we are dealing with a crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous people that are consistently undercounted and underrepresented. Thankfully, Director, you emphasized earlier in this very hearing that very point by saying, quote, the challenge of underreporting is you never know for sure just how badly underreported they are. That's a direct quote from yourself. And I strongly believe that Congress plays a critical role in addressing this epidemic of violence. Legislation such as Representative Torres' Savannah's Act and Representative Holland's Not Invisible Act should be considered by this committee and signed into law if we truly want a comprehensive solution to this crisis. More immediately, We need the Senate to swiftly pass the Violence Against Women Act, which contains additional protections for Native American women. It's been stalled in the Senate for over 10 months. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.